Hello, kia ora, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks for joining us for our Monday weather update, the outlook for this week ahead and the start of September across New Zealand, Australia and the South Pacific. Let's get into the forecast. An enormous area of high pressure in the New Zealand area at the moment, stretching right out into the Tasman. So we've got no big rainmakers anywhere in the New Zealand area at the moment, which is a very pleasant change after what we've had for the last couple of months. Up in the tropics, a little bit cooler with that southeasterly flow coming through for a number of the main islands, Fiji, Vanuatu and into New Caledonia. And then over in Australia, between South Australia and Victoria, a small area of low pressure driving in even more wet weather for you, while a big high rolls into Western Australia. So it's a fairly changeable map, but it's also looking a little bit like spring is in the air. So let's take a look at the rainfall for Australia. This is for the next 2 days ahead. Some bigger rainfall totals down around Victoria, where you're getting up to about 40 millimetres coming through for the next couple of days. And then the bulk of the rain through the interior of Queensland and New South Wales. It's pretty much dry everywhere on the western side of Aussie. Over in New Zealand, it's a little bit of snow coming this week that's making the headlines. This is for the 3-day snowfall amount from Wednesday lunchtime. And you can see here some heavier falls through the mountains. We're talking actually up around 70, 80 centimetres of snow on the mountain tops, but lower down, not as much. And in fact, low down areas not really seeing much at all in the way of snow. Might even be a little bit of a dusting around Mount Ruapehu as well. Only a little bit, but I'm sure that'll be welcome. Let's take a look at the forecast. Here we are for Tuesday, and that high rolling out towards the Chatham Islands. A slight southeasterly flow carries on, and that means 1 or 2 showers lingers around Gisborne and northern Hawke's Bay. Might also be an isolated shower down on the west coast. Otherwise, New Zealand is dry on Tuesday, while low pressure moves through Victoria and Tasmania, and we've got a little bit of wet weather through the interior of New South Wales and right up to Queensland, even a little bit into Northern Territories as we go through Tuesday. As we get into Wednesday's forecast, you can see those few showers moving along. That's in the westerly flow, and a couple of showers on this side drifting past, more of a southerly flow. Over in New Zealand, high pressure remains parked right over the top of the Chatham Islands. That means we've still got a very light easterly at the top of the country, otherwise fairly light winds for the North Island. But on Wednesday, you'll notice those windy westerlies returning, and the rain returns to the west coast as well. By Thursday, more of that rain falling, and that's the reason why we're seeing snow falling up in the mountains here on Thursday. And we've got another burst of rain. In fact, if you take a look at the rainfall, the departure from normal rainfall map, this is showing much wetter than average through a large portion of the interior of Australia, all caught up in this easterly flow running along the top here, and as more high pressure rolls into the south, driving in a weak cold front. Nothing too significant, but a weak cold front coming through for you. So as we get to the end of the week, Friday sees high pressure just to the south of Australia, more rain through the interior. So that's what I mean. It's a pretty wet week coming through for those inland areas. And then in the New Zealand area on Friday, more of those nor'westers coming through, more rain on the west coast, falling as snow up in the mountains, and mostly dry around the North Island. And our final map for Saturday shows quite a big storm down here in the Southern Ocean, 950 hectopascals versus 1035 with that high. So that's quite a big pressure gradient drop towards that low. Now the low is staying well south of New Zealand, but it does a couple of things. One, it puts in a windy nor'wester around the New Zealand area and a cooler sou'wester for Tasmania and into Melbourne, maybe even actually around into Sydney a wee bit. We've got a developing low up here. Australia's bookended by low pressure on Saturday, one out to the west, the other out to the east. And then this stormy system down here is driving in more rain to New Zealand on the western side and more snow up in the mountains. That's why those snowfall amounts at the tops of the mountains in the South Island will be getting up above 70 centimetres as we go through this week. So that's the week ahead, and into the weekend. It's not too dramatic, but New Zealand's weather is pretty settled this week, goes downhill on Friday and into the weekend, whereas Australia's got rain falling through the interior. That's probably the biggest headline across Aussie. That's all from me. We'll see you again on Tuesday with our next update.